Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to take a journey back in time to ancient Sri Lanka for a tour of some truly incredible artistic and engineering achievements. We're about to uncover a world where, honestly, beauty was just woven into the very fabric of daily life.
So, take a look at this. We've got the past and present right next to each other. On one side, you see the weathered ruins of a massive palace as it stands today. And on the other, an artist's vision of that same palace in its full, absolutely breathtaking glory. I mean, this just begs the question, right? How did this ancient society pull off such wonders, and what other marvels did they create? Well, let's dive in and find out.
All right, so for our first stop, we're going somewhere you would probably never expect to find high art. This really shows us that in ancient Sri Lanka, creativity wasn't just for palaces and temples. It was tucked away in the most surprising corners of everyday life.
Okay, so at first glance, you might be scratching your head, but believe it or not, this is an ancient urinal from a monastery complex. But just look closer. It's covered in these absolutely stunning, intricate carvings. This wasn't just for show. It was almost like a philosophical statement that even the most ordinary parts of life were worthy of beauty and respect. It's just wild to think about. And you know what? The engineering here was every bit as impressive as the art. These stacked clay pots you're seeing were part of a really sophisticated filtration system. Wastewater would pass through them, getting purified before it was safely released back into the soil. It's this incredible blend of, advanced sanitation, being mindful of the environment, and just pure artistic beauty, all in one place. Okay, so we've seen the practical. Now let's move on to the profound. We're stepping into the world of gods, kings, and spiritual figures, all of them immortalized in magnificent stone and metal sculptures.
You see, in ancient Sri Lanka, sculpture wasn't just, a simple craft. No way. It was a super prominent and serious discipline. Every single statue was created with these beautiful and precise mathematical measurements. It was this amazing mix of deep artistic vision and almost scientific precision.
So, during the Great Anuradhapura period, you'll find that statues of the Buddha were usually created in one of three main poses. You had the standing posture, which you can see in powerful works like the Avukana statue. Then there's the sitting or meditation posture, like the famous Samadhi statue. And finally, the reclining posture, which represents the Buddha's final moments. Now, as Mahayana ideals started to spread, a whole new figure became a really popular subject for sculptors, the Bodhisattva. This is an enlightened being who puts off their own nirvana to help others. And this one right here, this is the statue from Dambegada, and it's considered an absolute masterpiece of the era, capturing this feeling of both grace and incredible power.
All right, you ready for a little historical mystery? This famous statue is widely thought to be the great King Parakramabahu. But there's this really fascinating debate among scholars. Some experts think it isn't a king at all, but a revered sage. And that, of course, completely changes how we might see this powerful figure.
Okay, we've seen art where you'd least expected, and we've seen these sacred sculptures. But now we're getting to what might just be the most unique artistic creation of ancient Sri Lanka, the art of the entrance itself. So, an entrance to a big, important building wasn't just a door. It was a whole artistic statement. It was this amazing combination of elements. You have the moonstone down at the base, you have these ornate guard stones on either side, and it all leads up these beautifully carved stairs. It's like a symphony of stone, all designed to get the visitor ready for what was inside.
Okay, so let's zoom in on that centerpiece. It's called a Sandakadapahana, or moonstone. And as you can see, it's a semicircular slab of stone placed at the foot of the stairs, but believe me, it's so much more than just a pretty step.
And what's so cool about these is that they actually started out as just plain, undecorated slabs of stone. But over time, artists just went to town, transforming them into these incredible masterpieces of carving. This close-up from the Anuradhapura period shows you just how packed with detail and symbolism they became.
All right, let's break this down, because it's like a story carved in stone. Right at the very center, you've got a half lotus. Moving outwards from there, you see this band of delicate creepers. Next up is a procession of graceful swans, and each one is carrying a lotus bud in its beak. Then you get this dynamic band with four animals: the elephant, the lion, the horse, and the bull. And the whole thing is framed by an outermost band that represents flames. But here's the thing, this design wasn't set in stone. Well, I guess it was, but you know what I mean. It evolved. Take a close look at that animal procession. See if you can spot what's missing in the later one. It's the bull, right?
It was removed, and that was likely because of the growing influence of Hinduism, where the bull is a sacred animal linked to the god Shiva, so you wouldn't want people walking on it.
Okay, for our final stop, we're leaving the stone carvings behind and diving into stories told in stunning, vibrant color. We're going to look at some paintings that have somehow survived for centuries, bringing the walls of ancient Sri Lanka to life.
And look, you just can't talk about ancient Sri Lankan painting without talking about these, the world-famous Sigiriya frescoes, which date all the way back to the 5th century. They're painted high up on a rock fortress, and these beautiful women have been captivating people for generations. I mean, the colors are still just unbelievably vivid, and we're talking after more than 1,500 years. It's mind-blowing.
So you can see the women are carrying flowers, lotuses and lilies, and they're painted in these beautiful hues of yellow, red, and blue. But here's the big mystery. Who are these women? Are they celestial nymphs? Ladies of the royal court? Scholars still debate it, and the paintings are holding their secrets close.
And of course, the tradition of painting didn't just stop at Sigiriya. Not at all. It kept on evolving into the later Polonnaruwa period. That's what we're seeing here in these frescoes from a rock cave in Paligodata. They just go to show that the urge to decorate walls with sacred and beautiful images was a really powerful and lasting one.
So when you think about it, from these massive palaces all the way down to intricately carved urinals, from sacred statues to the very stones people walked on, art was just everywhere. And that kind of dedication, that need to weave beauty into every single corner of life, it really leaves us with a big question to chew on. When beauty is everywhere, from a palace to a stepping stone, what does that tell us about what a society truly values?